Quickly, one big step.
Everybody for being here for an extraordinarily important announcement. We gather here today at the Texas Women's Hall of Fame at the Texas Women's University. This Hall of Fame was created in 1984 by the Texas Governor's Commission for Women to recognize women who have attained extraordinary achievements. The Texas Women's Hall of Fame ensures that the achievements and contributions of women across Texas are written into our state's legacy. We gather today to safeguard that legacy for women in college sports. I'm joined today by Riley Gaines and Paula Scanlon, both of whom were competitive swimmers on women's college teams. They have dealt firsthand with the challenges that we seek to address by the law that I'm about to sign. We're also gathered by other women athletes, from those who currently compete in college to those who hope to one day be able to compete in college. And I'm proud to be joined by so many legislators, both in the House and Senate, who were a part of this effort to make sure that this bill got to my desk. They include Senator Kelly Hancock, Senator Richard Hayes, Representative Stuckey, Representative Drew Springer, Representative Jared Patterson, Representative Stephanie Click, Senator Mays Middleton, Representative Valerie Swanson, Representative Kwanda Temesh, Representative Shesline, Senator Tam Parker, Representative Smith, and Representative Baumgardner. We're here because women's sports are threatened across the entire country. Some women are being forced to play against biological men like Riley and Paula were. Women's college athletic teams are threatened. College records that women set are threatened. Women's sports, women's records, women's teams, women's locker rooms, all are jeopardized when biological men are allowed to compete for those titles, for those teams, for those records. 2 years ago, I signed a law protecting the integrity of girls' sports in Texas high schools. Today, I'm signing into law the Save Women's Sports Act, which offers similar protections for young women at colleges and universities. This law prohibits biological men from competing on a team or as an individual against women in college sports. Women have thrived under college sports in America. They have mastered discipline. They have harnessed drive in order to be able to succeed. They have cast visions inspired by a work ethic to achieve greatness. They've learned how to triumph with grace and how to gracefully accept loss. They've learned how to hone skills and then translate them into successful careers and families. Those attributes, which are byproducts of women's college sports, will not be destroyed in the state of Texas. The legacy of women's sports will be safeguarded for generations to come because of the law I am about to sign. Women in Texas can be assured that the integrity of their sports is protected in our great state. I now want to recognize Riley Gaines, and followed by Paula Scanlon.
Good afternoon. It is so great to be back in the great state of Texas, although the temperature, 105, that is like what I cook things in the oven at, so that's crazy. But for a sports analogy, today feels like that one meet, that one race that you train all year for, but we win. It's accumulation of hard work on behalf of myself, the legislators here, Governor Abbott, and so I'm just so grateful. But my name is Riley Gaines, and I'm advisor for the Independent Women's Voice, and I am proudly here today to recognize and thank Governor Greg Abbott for standing up for women and girls and signing the Save Women's Sports Act. This is huge news, not only for Texans, but for girls across the country. This new law will protect the integrity of women's sports by prohibiting men from competing against female athletes at Texas colleges and universities. It's pretty amazing that this law is even necessary. If you have eyes and a brain and any amount of common sense, you can easily comprehend the fact that men on average, and this is a fact, are taller, stronger, more powerful, can jump higher than women. It's biological reality. But unfortunately, we live in such a time where it is somehow controversial to say men and women are different in a way that makes those with Y chromosomes who have gone through male puberty have an unfair advantage in competition where strength and speed are required. And I know this based on my own not-so-unique personal experience. Prior to joining Independent Women's Voice, I was a student athlete at University of Kentucky, where I proudly finished my career as a 12-time NCAA All-American, a 5-time SEC champion. I'm actually still the SEC record holder in the 200 butterfly, making me one of the fastest Americans of all time, and a 2-time Olympic trial qualifier. On March 17th of 2022, my teammates and I, as well as hundreds of female swimmers from universities around the country, were forced to undress beside and compete against male named Leah Thomas. Thomas was allowed to compete in the women's division after competing his entire collegiate career, including the 3 years prior, as Will Thomas at University of Pennsylvania, ranking 462nd at best. We all watched on the side of the pool as Thomas swam to a national title in the 500-yard freestyle, beating out the most impressive and accomplished female swimmers this world has ever seen. Olympians, American record holders by body lengths. Thomas and I ended up racing in the 200-yard freestyle, and we tied down to the 100th of a second. Not even 1/100th separated us. Everything that transpired after we climbed out of that pool made clear to me that the NCAA was explicitly violating Title IX and discriminating against women on the basis of our sex. And what mattered most to the NCAA was validating the feelings of a male. The NCAA handed me the 6th place trophy and told me I had to go home empty-handed. And when I asked why, they told me that Thomas had to have the trophy when pictures were being taken. That's what they were advised. I was shocked. I felt betrayed and belittled and reduced down to a photo op. But we've seen this trend occur across the globe. It's happening to girls of all ages and all sports and in all divisions. Not only can I attest to the tears that I witnessed from finishers on the pool deck who miss out on being named an All-American by 1 place, I can attest to the anger and the frustration and the whispers of those. There were whispers of anger and frustration from these girls who, just like myself, had worked our entire lives to get to that meet. And I can attest to the fact that their parents are so discouraged as they see their daughters undermined, and I can attest to the extreme discomfort in the locker room when you turn around and there's a 6'4", 22-year-old male fully intact with and exposing male genitalia inches away from where you're simultaneously undressing. Those parents I mentioned who are discouraged, they too are looking for solutions and for someone to boldly stand up for women and girls in sport. Listen to them, have empathy for them, and fight for their rights for fair play. In 1972, Congress enacted Title IX to end unjust sex discrimination in all aspects of education, including collegiate athletics. Although Title IX does not apply to the NCAA itself, it applies to the colleges and universities that make up the membership of that NCAA. And these institutions are required to provide equal athletic opportunities for members of both sexes. Make no mistake about it. By allowing male athletes to displace female athletes in the pool or on the track and field or on that podium, the NCAA and its member colleges intentionally discriminate on the basis of sex, which is why we must champion leaders like Governor Greg Abbott for standing up for women and girls, as well as Senator Mays Middleton and Valerie Swanson, the sponsors of this bill on both the House and Senate side. I couldn't be more grateful for them. When Governor Abbott signed the Save Women's Sports Act this summer, he sent a message to approximately 15 million Texan women that they will be treated fairly on the playing fields, in the sport arenas, and inside the locker rooms. Governor Abbott, thank you for respecting our right to fair play, safe spaces, and privacy.
Thank you. And now Paula Scanlon.
First, I'd like to thank everyone for having us out here. While I'm from Connecticut, interesting state, my entire family lives in Texas.
Well.
My mom's side of the family, that is, and so I'm very comforted to know that when my cousins have kids that they're going to raise in Texas, that they will be protected under this law.
Thank you.
So thank you.
Sure.
So hi everyone, my name is Paula Scanlon, and I'm a spokeswoman for an advisor for the Independent Women's Forum and a former NCAA athlete. I am here today to graciously thank Governor Abbott for being a wonderful leader, standing with women and girls, and showing us in Texas that they are worthy of equal opportunities, privacy, and of competing and winning, and they are worth fighting for. Governor Abbott, thank you for signing the Save Women's Sports Act and into Texas law. I'd like to offer my personal story as proof to why legislation like the Save Women's Sports Act is needed. I started swimming at a very young age. By age 8, I was swimming competitively, and by late middle school, I was devoting at least 20 hours a week to swimming. I dragged myself out of bed on cold, dark mornings for practice. I gave up countless holidays, weekends, and social events to work towards my dream of swimming Division I. A dream that came true when I began swimming at the University of Pennsylvania. In September of 2021, my teammates and I were shocked when Will Thomas suddenly became a member of Penn's women's team as Leah Thomas. After swimming for 3 years on our college men's team, a self-identified woman, Thomas had now a locker in our locker room, wore women's swimsuits, and practiced and traveled with our team, and competed for the women's team. Thomas had personal best times in every freestyle event that were faster than every female world record. While Thomas had only ever placed in the top 500 when he competed against the men. While competing against women, Thomas became an NCAA champion. Well, many of you already know this. What you don't know is the experience of us women on the University of Pennsylvania women's swim team. My teammates and I were forced to undress in the presence of Leah, a 6'4" tall biological male, fully intact with male genitalia, 18 times per week. Some girls opted to change in the bathrooms stalls, while others went into the family locker rooms to avoid undressing next to Thomas. When my teammates and I tried to voice our concerns to the athletic department, we were told that Leah's swimming was a non-negotiable, and we were offered psychological services to re-educate us into accepting the idea of Thomas competing and undressing beside us. To sum up the university's response, we, the women, were the problem, not the victims. We were expected to conform, and our feelings didn't matter. The university was gaslighting and fear-mongering us women to validate the feelings and identity of a male. This continues to happen today. Any discussion of maintaining the sanctity of women's spaces is labeled transphobic, bigoted, and hateful. What's bigoted and hateful is a discrimination against women and girls happening across the country. The dangerous effects to erase women and girls, destroy us, and our equal opportunities to compete and win. They dilute our dignity and all that it means to be a woman, and stripe away our safe spaces and privacy and security where we previously had. And it's time for this to stop. And because of Governor Abbott's profound commitment to women and his leadership here in the Texas legislature, here in Texas, women are now protected. I hope other states follow in Texas's footsteps and make the pro-women choice to protect our sports. Thank you, Governor Abbott, for taking the concerns of women like me so seriously.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Proud of you. Now to sign the law. Different than you thought. A lot of people want pens. There you go. But you wonder what we're going to do with those. So I'm going to save these. For you all.
Oh, thank you.
The Save Women's Sports Act is now law in the state of Texas. We'll take a few questions. Hey, Jack.
Hi, Governor. So I don't know if you saw the protesters outside on your meeting. They told me it's not just this bill, but they feel other bills at the Capitol by Republicans have been targeting the LGBTQ community. How do you respond to that?
I wish that they could have peacefully heard what Paula and Riley had to say. Any reasonable person would agree. They should not have had to have gone through what they went through. Our goal is to make sure that what they went through is not going to be repeated again. Our goal is to ensure these young girls behind me will be able to train like Paula was talking about how she trained. I know Riley did the same thing. They devoted their lives, working harder probably than anybody in this room. Longer days, longer nights, sacrificing so much to achieve a goal, only to have that goal erased by being forced to compete against a man. Everyone needs to fully comprehend what these women and other women have been through, and that Texas will stop at nothing to continue to protect women's sports for women in the state of Texas.
William Joy, WFAA. How concerned are you that this law and others like it passed in other states have faced Title IX litigation already?
So if you apply Title IX and the exact words of Title IX, laws like this should be upheld, and any lawsuit against it should be dismissed automatically. And that's what we fully expect. As the former Attorney General of Texas, I will tell you this. Texas will vigorously defend this law in court, and we will win.
How do you explain this law to members of the LGBTQ community, as my colleague Jack was asking you, and without them feeling marginalized? Because, as he had mentioned, there have been a lot of laws here passed by the legislature, signed by you, that they believe that is marginalizing them. How would you respond to them?
You used a very important word, marginalized. How will they explain to Riley and Paula and to other women how they have been marginalized? They're the ones who went through the training, not the protesters out there. These are the women who committed their lives, altered their lives so that they can compete. And yet you heard Riley talking about how she was marginalized. She was the winner but she was denied that victory. Riley Gaines was marginalized because of some political agenda. We need to get back to what we intended to achieve when Title IX was passed in the first place. Title IX exists, and we support it because we support the benefits that we see every day, every year, from women who train and compete in sports and the positive effect it has in their lives. Go ahead.
Governor, what do you have to say to the criticism that this law seeks a solution to an issue that doesn't really exist on a large scale? I don't believe any trans athletes ever competed on the collegiate level in Texas, fewer than 3 dozen nationally. Why is the focus on this and not issues that affect millions of Texans every day, like the grid, the border, education?
Can I just say that Will Thomas is from Texas. He went to Westlake High School. And I'm very well versed on this topic. It is happening here. It's happening, and you just heard these, or I don't know if you heard actually. It's happening in as young as elementary schools. It's happening in every level, every division, every sport, in every state. And to believe that that's not the truth is to believe the narrative that's being pushed, that it is a non-issue. And I can attest, I get the messages from young girls. I get the messages from parents. I get the messages from the coaches who feel silenced. It's happening here in Texas.
I'm shocked.
So as you know, the impeachment trial is coming up in the next month, and there's a lot of pressure, political pressure, on Republicans, not only in the Senate but in the House, as far as being primary by those who oppose Paxton's impeachment. And so I'm wondering, you told the Texas Tribune in February that you thought the investigation that taxpayers should not have to foot the bill for the settlement of the whistleblower case. So I'm wondering, where are you in all of this as it relates to this pending impeachment trial and the pressure on Republicans specifically?
Sure. 2 things. One is I actually have a constitutional role to play that I've exercised twice now with regard to appointing any interim attorney general during the pendency of this process. But second, whether it be as governor or just as an ordinary citizen, one thing that we all expect is something that's going to be fair, transparent, and even-handed. Everyone has a right to a fair process, and that's exactly what I and I think my fellow Texans expect.
Do you think that's happened so far?
Time is going to tell.
Great, thank you everyone. That's all we have time for.